about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K. Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 654. Season is coming up quick, Mark. It seemed like it was so far away, and now it's right there.
Yes. By the way, have we announced on the show that this is our last season?
We did.
We announced
but
on the Brink podcast.
Yes, we. Oh yeah, we did. We announce it? No, we announced.
No. So we are calling this. This is our last season doing the Knicks show. The Knicks show will retire again this season. Hopefully, it will retire with the Knicks winning the title. For a long time, we said we would retire. Jay, for the long time, has said he will retire. He said his last season on the show will come right after they trade Julius Randle. And now that Randle's been traded,
Been saying that for 15 years.
15 years. And it didn't make a lot of sense a while ago, but now it really makes sense. Randall's gone. The show's going to be gone too. Anyway, this is our last season doing the show. We are just going to move on after this. So we're going to come to you this whole season. We will be here throughout the New York Knicks championship run. We are giving the New York Knicks podcast gold star guarantee the Knicks win the title this year.
I mean, wouldn't that be perfect? Our last episode's just talking about the championship.
Yeah, I mean, it would be amazing. It's not like it would be amazing. It will be amazing because it will happen. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the Knicks have played. Go, Jay. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, according to ESPN, it won't happen. So remember,
what does ESPN say?
Remember when they had John Hollinger and he was like really good with analytics and they were like kind of cutting edge?
Remember when they had Zach Lowe or anyone that knows anything about basketball working for them?
Yeah. So their new analytics. How many wins do you think their new analytics says the Knicks are going to win?
Okay, so I am going to say the Knicks are going to win 55 games. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to have a great season. Mm-hmm. ESPN's probably like, Knicks, they're fighting for the top pick in the NBA draft.
Want to give me a range?
42 wins.
40 to 41.
I gave a completely shitty, absurdly low answer, and they went lower.
Yeah.
When we go low, they go lower.
So they have the 19th best odds to make the conference finals and the 19th best odds to make the finals.
Okay, so forgetting even the finals, the Knicks have the 19th.
Oh, no. Sorry, not the conference finals. The 19th best odds to make the finals and win the title.
Okay.
The conference finals, they think the Knicks have, 19th if you count both conferences, yes.
So the 19th best odds to make the conference finals?
Yeah.
Just in the NBA?
They give the Knicks 8% chance and Philly a 42% chance.
42. So the team the Knicks beat last year has... I mean, the Knicks were within games of going to the conference final 2 years in a row, and now they have almost no shot of going to the conference finals.
According to ESPN, yes. They think that Cleveland has a 27% chance.
Cleveland, yes, Cleveland. Cleveland doesn't make it out of the first round.
You know how Miami got worse? They have a 19% chance.
Cleveland, who hasn't even upgraded their roster.
Right.
They didn't even do anything.
I don't know.
Knicks upgraded their... Maybe, you know what it is? ESPN, maybe we'll find out ESPN's like, well, LeBron's going to retire soon. Now we're going to devote all our energy to Julius Randle on the Timberwolves. If you don't have Randle, you're done.
I mean, this is what happens when you lay off anybody who knows anything about basketball.
I mean, it's just like, oh, Knicks are bad. Knicks are garbage. They're going to be garbage going forward because we're ESPN, and maybe ESPN just figures they get more traffic from Knicks fans and New York if they make the Knicks look bad.
I mean, the face of their network is a guy who picked the wrong finals winner 8 years in a row, so that should just tell you something right there.
They also are going all in on Bronny James because the guy who's basically, it's charity that he's even in the NBA right now. Just because his dad, he's basically, there's no greater, my dad got me the job than Bronny James.
Yeah.
And ESPN's like, oh my God, he got an assist in a preseason game. Will he make the Hall of Fame?
He was on the front page of their site 4 days in a row, and I was like, are we really going to do this all season?
Does anyone care? How big of a diehard LeBron fan you have to be to really give a shit that he's playing with his son?
Anyway, let's talk some Knicks. There's
Okay,
Knicks
I have
news.
some topics for you. Okay.
Okay, did you
The Knicks
want
have
to
played two?
the big news? Did you want to get the big news over with first?
You don't want me to do my topics? I wrote topics.
Oh, okay.
Go
Yeah,
off
no,
yourself.
let's hear your topics. Let's do it.
Okay. Okay, I have topics for the show. I wrote topics. I put
We
some
we
work
took
in. You put
3
some
months off. We're a little rusty.
Okay, cool. Okay, so the Knicks, by the way, they played just to set the they played 2 preseason games. They beat Charlotte in a nail biter, and they beat the Wizards in a blowout.
Yes.
Anyway, okay. So here are my topics for the show. One, will the phrase "greatest thing since sliced bread" be replaced by the phrase "greatest thing since the Brunson Cat pick and roll"?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 2, I wanted to let you know, Jay, if I'm ever murdered, I would like it to involve being suffocated by a pillow over my face. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because I want to know what it feels like to play offense against OG, Bridges, and Hart.
Smothering.
Smothering. Also, we're gonna play a game. It's called Spot the Similarities and Differences between Hat and Randall's games. You have the amount of time Randall holds the ball to make your list.
It's a good amount of time.
Jay, don't you think it's ridiculous in corporate America, or just in America these days, when you lose your job and you have to train your replacement?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyway, Sims meet Huckporty. And this bench unit is going to give me some campaign at times. First of many pain puns that we'll have on the show. Also, are we going to start calling Tyler Kolek Brunson Light or Brunson White? And if Kolek looked like this, and I asked this on Twitter, but if Kolek looked like this in preseason prior to Brunson arriving, would Knicks Twitter build him a statue?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Honorable mentions, not less humor here, but first is this the first time in a long time that we are in uniform agreement that the starting lineup is also the ending lineup?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is 100% like this. I have to think Mitch comes back, whatever. This unit's on the floor that starts the game is going to be the unit that ends the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I think the team looks really good. I do have one player to recommend that maybe the Knicks pursue that I think would be like the perfect fit on this team to put them over the top.
Mm-hmm.
It's a guy, he plays in Minnesota. Do you know Dante DiVincenzo? I think he'd be a great fit in the team.
It'd be so amazing if they could get him back.
Also, I feel like we should compare last year's starting lineup to start the season with this year's starting lineup to start the season.
Sure. Yeah.
The difference is maybe let's just start with that if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so last year, starting point guard, Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
This year, starting point guard, Jalen Brunson. Gotta say that's a push.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then starting 2 guard. Who's starting? Starting 2 guard last year was
Grimes.
Was it even Dante? It wasn't Dante. It was
Grimes, right?
Grimes. Quentin Grimes, who may or may not still be in the NBA while playing for the Pistons. And this year would be, I guess it's Josh Hart. I don't know who's considered the 2. Or is it Mikal Bridges?
I think it's going to be, I think Bridges.
Okay, Bridges versus Quentin Grimes.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. The 3, we got RJ versus OG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, outside of Tommy D, I think the rest of the world agrees on who wins that one.
Yep.
The 4, I guess the 4 is Josh Hart versus Randall.
Yeah. I mean, Randall gets that one.
Randall gets that one. The 5 would have been, I guess it would have been Mitch because Hart wasn't starting yet. Hartenstein, Mitch versus Towns.
Yeah. Got to give it to Towns. So upgrade 3 out of 5 positions.
it's crazy the difference in this team. I mean, we lost IQ, we lost RJ, we lost DiVincenzo, we lost Randall. Wow, the difference.
I think there's 3 guys from last year, from the starting from game 1 of last year.
On the roster?
Yeah.
They're still on the roster? Is it only 3 guys?
I think it's no 4.
Okay, so Mitch, Sims,
McBride and Brunson.
Brunson. Those 4 guys are the only guys that are on the roster. I'm not counting Jacob Toppin.
Oh no, Hart was Hart was
on the team
before.
already. Yeah, from 2 years ago, it's 2 years ago. It's those 4 without Hart.
Yeah.
Well, we've been saying all these years that the best way to build the Knicks to build is have continuity on the roster, for at least a few months before you switch it over.
It's, you know how like the first 12 years we were doing this podcast, every season there was like 8 or 9 new guys. There still is. It's just they're being replaced with good players this time instead of guys you never heard of.
I know for all these, we were like, come on, just keep the same roster, keep the same roster. Now we're like, you turn the entire roster over? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If you're gonna do it this way. If you're gonna turn the roster, it's like if you were a Miami Heat fan back in the day, and you're like, what? The only guy still on the team is Dwayne Wade? Fine, I'll root for Wade, Bosh, and LeBron. They'll see how this goes.
Yeah, it's almost the same thing.
Almost the same thing. I guess. Well, they had Wade and they had Chalmers, but so Knicks look pretty good. So what was your big announcement before we go into my topics or whatever you want to talk about?
Oh, it's official. Mitch is out until at least 2025.
Okay. I am getting old now, so I think 2025 is coming up soon, right?
I mean, it's going to be at least 20 something games.
I kind of thought that was going to happen anyway. What did they say exactly? I didn't see this update.
Yeah, they said he's targeting a January comeback. So,
cool.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see him in January.
There was talk of the Knicks are trying to trade Mitch, but like since he doesn't seem like he's going to play this season, kind of hard to trade him.
I think he's going to be healthy in January, and in January they're going to trade him.
I think when they say he's targeting January, he's back in February, maybe.
Maybe, I mean, right before the trade deadline. But here's the thing: Sims looks better. He looks a lot better, and I don't know about you.
I'm sorry. You think Sims looks like? What have you seen from Sims? You're like, wow, he looks so good.
He doesn't look as lost. He looked like he was a little like on defense. He looked better. He was like where he was supposed to be. He was getting rebounds. Like
he looks like he's going to lose his job to Huck Porty to me. Actually,
well, that's what I was going to say. Huck Porty looked really good, and if
I don't think Huck Porty is ready for. I mean, he's going to spend some time in the G League. He's raw.
I don't want to
Huck Porty
overreact to a preseason game against the Wizards, but he did look. I do want to see more.
Yes, I want to see more. I mean, they were playing the Wizards and Charlotte. They're both garbage.
Yeah.
I don't think playing them in the preseason is like a good example of anything.
Well, we learned from Bachman, like 14 years ago, never to trust a preseason game.
Well, the Knicks also were. I think they were 1-4 in the preseason last year. It doesn't really preseason means nothing.
Right, but I'm saying I would like to see
performance-wise.
I would like to see
Yeah.
deep bench like Huck Porty on it, and then when the Knicks are up by like 25 every game, he could play like the fourth quarter.
Every game.
Every game.
I think Huck Porty's going to spend some time in the G League. Tyler Kolek, who's looked awesome, is probably going to spend some time in the G League. All the young guys are going to spend some time in the G League. I really think Precious is going to play over Sims. I don't know. If I'm talking about who's going to play the center minutes outside of Towns, I'd probably play Precious over Sims. Precious is switchable. He has, I don't know, Sims' just seems like a very limited basketball player. I mean, he could jump really high. He seems a little more with it where to be on defense. He adds nothing on offense besides a dunk. Do you really think Sims is never going to be like Mitch level?
No, he's not. Huck Porty is.
I don't think Sims will ever be. I'm going to play regular NBA minutes level.
I don't know. I mean, You only need 15 minutes a game out of the center
Yeah,
position.
but they're NBA minutes. So people always are like, well, you only need 15. They say it like, well, you only need 15 minutes, as if you could throw me out there. Well, I'm only playing 15 minutes tonight, guys. It doesn't matter what I do.
I mean, Precious, I like better, definitely. It's just,
Yeah.
I feel like Precious is situational because there's some centers that are just too big for him.
Agree. I agree with. I think neither Precious or Sims are rim protectors. So I think Precious is just a more versatile defender. It's just going to make more sense to play him and he can do a little bit on offense, a little bit. Besides, he can't shoot threes, but he can do a little bit on offense.
I mean, he shoots threes.
Sims-
He just doesn't get them in.
I don't know why he still shoots threes. I don't know. Doesn't look like he's practiced it.
Well, I mean,
but
you can't go by last game. They shot 24%. I think from the field they shot like 41%. It was just, I don't know how they won by almost 20 shooting like that. It was nobody could hit a shot.
suffocating defense. Suffocating defense.
True.
So where do you want to start? Do you want to start with Cat? I guess first off, the Cat and Brunson pick and roll, as I mentioned in my topics, that looks kind of awesome. How does that look to you?
Looks very good. Looks very good. It's going to be a problem for a lot of teams. It's
Yeah.
like the Knicks centers have been so void of offense. To have somebody who can do the pick and roll like that is so different, and it just makes Brunson that more dangerous as well. Like we already know
Right.
Cat scores 20 points a game and he's going to do that, but Brunson is now like, what do you do with Brunson now? Like
If you trap Brunson, he gets the ball at Cat. Well, Cat's gonna score. You go to watch get Cat. Well, Brunson's insanely efficient also, so you're screwed there. Like, or they kick it out to 1 3-point shooters, but like that's a really hard. It's also like, I mean, Brunson obviously is like small and crafty. Brunson, I mean, Cat's huge. It's a problem for teams.
Well, not to mention when you got Bridges, OG, and maybe McBride out on the 3-point line, just waiting for an open shot, shooting
Josh
40%.
Hart, when he is shooting threes well.
Yeah, OG he's a good shooter. I just found it funny. They asked him who's the best shooter on the team is, and he said me, and then he went 2 for 9 like the very next game. But he's a good shooter. I mean, everyone was just rusty.
I appreciate Cat getting in honor of Julius Randle missing a ton of threes last night. I really appreciate him doing like that ceremonial honor to
Spreading the floor.
he is not he is not he has no problem just jacking them up there.
Yeah.
Downs, does he?
No, he doesn't. I mean, he shot 40% last season. That's like top of the league.
It's also like Randall shot 40% for 1 year, but Cat has shot 38 to 40% his whole career.
Yeah.
He's a good 3-point shooter. So I have no doubt some of these are going to go in. But I was just watching him like, dude, do you have to keep just jacking them up? Do you want to, you're 7 foot. Do you want to just go to the basket?
I mean, he's the type of player that we're going to be frustrated with him on certain nights because of things like that and the dumb fouls. Overall, we're going to be happy, but there are going to be some nights where like, stop doing that, please. But I mean, Randall did shoot 31% last season from 3. So
he had a really rough start, so he's probably more like 33%, 34% after
still,
that start.
I mean, if Towns hits close to 40, that's 6% over a course of a season's a lot of extra points.
It's huge. It is funny though. You were like, man, Randall, he's a head case. He does this wrong and this wrong and this wrong. Who'd we get? Towns. Oh, great. He's a head case. He is
No red flags there.
no issues with. I mean, Towns looks like a better offensive player. I was hesitant with this trade. Obviously, we'll see how it goes, but I'm getting really excited to see what they can do against actual NBA teams.
Yeah. Like I said, it's really hard to get excited about beating a bad team in a preseason game, but there's been flashes of things where I'm like, this could look really good in the regular season when they all start clicking. We got to remember there's 2 new starters in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I think they said Tibbs was trying to play the starting 5 together, like throughout preseason, going to try to play them together a little more than you would normally.
Yeah,
just to guys get everyone used to each other.
Yeah, they played about 25 minutes together last game, and like Washington did like 20. So there's an extra 5 minutes of the starting lineup, which good. They need to get some continuity, and capping guys at 30 minutes is not crazy.
So, what do we think of Towns' game so far? I love the pick and roll with Randall. I mean, with Brunson, he jacks up threes, which I expect I'll have nights where he does shoots like this, and have nights where he hits a ton of the threes. I assume he'll hit as long as he's shooting 38% or higher. Great, keep shooting your threes. What else do you think about his game so far?
I mean, obviously the pick and roll is awesome. He seemed like he doesn't average a lot of assists. Like career, it's like 3, but he looks like a willing passer.
Like a more than willing passer. I gotta say, so Randall obviously averages more assists. And again, I really like Randall. I really was saddened by the trade. But the ball was stuck in Randall's hands for a good amount of time before he'd make a decision with a pass. The ball doesn't stick in Cat's hands. He seems to make a pretty fast decision. If he's going to pass the ball, he makes a pretty quick pass.
Yeah. So it seems like overall the ball movement will be a little better. More touches for everybody.
Do we go back to man, Tibbs doesn't know how to design an offense, or he just needed the right pieces?
I mean, people were saying that when the Knicks were playing like barely in the league. It's like, oh my God, Tibbs sucks on offense, and they're playing like Knox and Frank and like, maybe it was the roster.
Who was the point guard again that we all hated?
Elfrid Payton.
Yeah, they were like, Elfrid Payton's running the offense. Man, Tibbs doesn't even make up any plays. Like this is ridiculous. Just throw the ball to Randall. Well, there's no one else on the team.
Yeah, and people giving Randall crap about the Hawks series. It's like 3 of the guys in the starting lineup aren't even in the league anymore. Like, and it was only 4 years ago. Like, it was just a bad.
God. 3 of the guys are not in the league. Elfrid Payton, Reggie Bullock's not in the league anymore.
I don't think so. If he is, he's like, let me see. I don't think Bullock is anymore.
Yeah. The ball movement seemed really good last night. For both games, they seemed really good. And it does seem like Towns really is a solid facilitator. I think his assist numbers are going to go up.
Yeah, I do too. Bullock played 42 games last season, but he averaged 9 minutes a game. So he's about out.
Can't believe the Knicks couldn't win more games with him as your.
And I don't think he signed this season.
Okay, well the Knicks can still add him. Maybe he will be starting by the end of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
The other guy was Nerlens Noel.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I forgot. Ball movement was better. I have to say, I thought he would. I don't know. I haven't watched. I guess I haven't watched enough Towns. I thought he might. There's no bully ball in his game, right?
No, but he does make like quick, fluid motions to the basket. Like he drew a lot of fouls. He took 11 free throws last game, so it's not like back to the basket like bully ball, but
It's not. He doesn't play. I think his game is different from Randall.
He's quick for his size, and so he draws a lot of fouls that way. So they both take a lot of free throws. He draws them differently.
Right, and he's a really. I mean, again, Randall wasn't a bad free throw shooter, but Towns is a solid free throw shooter, right?
Yeah,
I gotta assume he's a pretty high percentage free throw
shooter. He's very good. A career average 84%. He shot 87 the last two seasons.
I mean, he's a really good shooter, just generally.
Yeah. I mean, 87 is like that's very good for. I mean, that's good for a guard.
Yeah, I mean, and his 2-point shooting is awesome. Also, 55% last year. I mean, the guy's a pretty efficient player.
Yeah.
I mean, the Knicks have one thing they've done is they've gotten rid of the inefficient players, RJ, Randall, so to speak. And everyone that's now here is fairly like Brunson's pretty efficient, Bridges is pretty efficient, OG is pretty efficient, Towns is pretty efficient, Hart most of the time is pretty efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they're clearly targeting a certain type of player, and they've succeeded in getting them.
When you say certain type of player, you mean players that were formerly repped by Leon Rose or Son?
Well, there is that. Yeah.
So Towns looks pretty good. What do you what do you think the rotation's going to look like? I guess two things. Who are going to get the bench minutes, I guess. But also, how do you think it's going to work? So obviously, these five guys aren't leaving the. We're not going to have a second rotate. We're not going to have like an all bench unit out there. That's just not going to happen in a real game.
I mean, when they're up by 25, they will.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. In a competitive game, they're not going to do that. Like, they're not going to. The second quarter is not going to be like Sims and Precious are out there together. Well, of course they just need guys from the bench to play.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think they're gonna. It looks like they're gonna start Hart, right?
Does seem like they're going to start hard. So I freaking. I guess maybe get sidetracked. Holy crap! The suffocating defense those guys played. Having between Hart, OG, and Bridges out there.
Yeah, ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. I feel like that is game. Whatever you're losing with Towns, and Towns had a block last night, and Towns' defense isn't amazing, but like he's going to be relied on for less because you have those three guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say that. Tell me how awesome that looked last night.
It was like you said earlier, smothering. Like the team was having trouble like getting it over half court. It was. It's going to be awesome.
Unfair. It was unfair to the Wizards.
And then you got McBride coming off the bench, who's awesome on defense too. So
yeah.
And Precious is no slouch either.
Yeah. That's why I was saying, like, I feel like Precious is going to be a better defender than Sims, so I'd probably want Precious out there. So the rotation, Mitch is gone for a while, so we're not going to put Mitch. We're not going to even bother talking about Mitch right now. Right now, you have the starting five. We're assuming We're assuming Deuce off the bench. 6 Precious or Sims, I guess, as the backup center. That's 7.
Mm-hmm.
8 and 9 being what? Do you think? I guess Cam and. I would you agree with me? Also, Tyler Kolek does not start right away. Does not play rotation minutes right away.
Probably not. I think at the beginning it's going to be Champagne, and then maybe Kolek takes one of their spots, and then we'll see about. If you need another big man, it's probably going to be Sims' start, maybe Huck Porty later.
I mean, Huck Porty and Kolek will really have to prove themselves. By the way, I tried to look this up, but I gave up pretty fast trying to figure this out. Hakomi Dadier.
Yeah.
Is he in America or is he in France?
He was actually supposed to play, but he sprained his finger before the game, so that's why Huck Porty played. Also Sims sprained an ankle,
and Deuce was out also
2 minutes into the game.
But okay, so by the way, I have no idea how to pronounce his name. I'll learn when he does something good on the basketball court. But he didn't play a game 1 either. Right.
Yeah. So that's a question mark. I'm guessing we're not going to see much of him.
I assume like he'll be in Westchester most of we'll see a lot of him in Westchester, which is fine. Like he's a rookie, like might be a project. We don't need to give major minutes to a rookie. I mean, of the rookies, Kolek looks by far the most advanced and the one that would be most likely to crack the rotation.
Yeah. He looks. He looked legit. Again, it was Washington in preseason, but he looked legit.
I don't know. It's been 2 preseason games. He's looked like. I mean, he's going against NBA players. He looks pretty good.
Yeah.
The thing is, okay, so he doesn't look better than McBride, obviously.
Mm-hmm. But he looks like a more of a natural point guard.
He does look more like a natural point guard. I guess really like campaign, you might want to step up your game because Kolek's on your he's going to catch you.
Yeah. McBride has nothing to worry about, but if I was campaign, I would be a little nervous. Shamet.
He looked pretty good in game 1. He didn't do that much in game 2.
Yeah,
but I feel like he's going to make the roster, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
What's his name? Who I've won Knicks get to get for a while, but he's kind of now washed up, or not. I guess not washed up is maybe the right word. He barely played last night, but T.J. Warren played 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably not making the team.
Probably not. I mean, it's unfortunate with
Knicks,
the injuries because 4 years ago he was destroying everybody. But
he was scoring 50 in the bubble. Like, it was crazy.
yeah.
What? I mean, the injuries just set you back. I guess it is what it is. But
Yeah.
Shamet had a pretty bad game last night.
Mm-hmm.
I still think he makes the roster.
I mean, most of the players had a bad game last night.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Wizards had a pretty bad game also last night.
Well, they have a bad franchise.
Yeah, they're a bad franchise. They're going for the #1 pick this year, I assume.
They like went all in on Kuzma and Poole. Like, what are you doing?
Why is Kuzma still on the roster? I understand Jordan Poole is untradeable. Like, the only team you could trade Jordan Poole is the team he's on. But why would you still have Kuzma? Just trade Kuzma for anything.
Well, didn't they re-up him to a huge contract?
Yeah. They read up into a big contract. You're like, there's nothing on your team. Just trade him. Like, just let him. Like, just don't make him win 5 games this season.
Knicks 100 says he would keep Warren over Shamet.
Ooh.
Shamet gives up as many points as he scores, if not more.
Is Warren a good defender?
I don't think so.
I assume. I mean, Tibbs is watching these guys practice. I assume Warren probably has not shown much in practice.
Yeah, I mean,
who
I think his injuries just caught up with him.
Yeah.
There is some news that leaked. Did you see Papa Left on Twitter leaked this? So it said OG was closer to taking 30 to 35 million, but he was put off by the whole Nova Boys thing and that they were trading for a guy who plays the same position as him. So he upped his number to 40 million. And the Knicks were pissed because it messed with their flexibility, and they were supposed to get Jonas Valanciunas, but after the sign and trade, they had no flexibility left.
After the sign and trade for Bridges?
Yeah.
So, they were supposed to. OG was going to sign for 30 to 35. He got pissed by the Nova Boys, them trading for Mikal Bridges.
Right, because it's the same position as him.
Same position as him. And so he asked for more money. I mean, clearly, if he's getting the money, though, he's going to play in major minutes.
Right.
And also, he played 45 minutes a night, so he might want someone else that plays his position to like give him a break.
I mean, this is according to a source.
Okay.
So
Okay, yeah. So the Knicks were supposed to, and because of that, they were supposed to get Valanciunas, who's playing, was on the Wizards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last night. They were supposed to get Valanciunas as their center.
Yeah.
I mean, the Knicks supposedly they've been trying to get Cat all off season. Yeah. So even they've been around the draft. I think they said they offered Randall and like a first. That didn't get done. Then they eventually threw Randall and DiVincenzo, and then it was Randall, DiVincenzo, and the Detroit first before they got it done. I guess at some point Minnesota said they became more willing, and Minnesota at some point had to move on from him because of the they didn't want to go into the second apron, I guess.
Yeah, I wonder if there was an option to throw in Mitch in a second first rounder. I would have thrown in an extra first rounder instead of Dante.
Originally it was supposed to be Randall and Mitch. That's what it was.
Right.
The Minnesota said no to that.
Right, but I would have thrown in another pick rather than switch to Dante. I'm not going to get over the Dante thing for a while.
I would love to have Dante on the team. I think he's awesome. I think I put Dante in the starting lineup and then Hart off the bench. The team looks so much better.
Yeah. It's going to take me a while. Until they win the championship this June, I'm going to be grumpy about it.
Well, if you enjoy watching Cat, then you can't be that upset about the trade because they wouldn't have Cat otherwise. And as awesome as DiVincenzo's shot hitting threes are, his threes will just be hit by other players. You have other guys who are as or almost as efficient taking the shots, so that's pretty reasonable. DiVincenzo gives a lot of great defense, but you also now have like he would have. How many minutes would have he played in this team? He would have played, 20 minutes a night?
Yeah, but he would have been playing campaign or Shamet minutes. So
right,
it's a big gap.
No, I get that. But I'm just saying, like, I think he also would have been frustrated playing those minutes. Okay, here's a question.
Nobody's frustrated if you're winning 60 games and then a championship. Nobody's frustrated.
I disagree. I think guys get frustrated. I think if you're playing 35 minutes a night and then you're starting to play 20 minutes a night, and you think you should play 35 minutes, you might get frustrated.
Maybe.
It's hard. It's really hard to have guys who are starters playing on your bench. You can have them for a short period of time, but at some point they want to play more minutes.
I think if the Knicks are in first place, you know what? He probably would have started anyway instead of Hart.
I don't know.
I think he would have started instead of Hart.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. That makes sense, but I think his minutes were going to suffer. And that's part of the reason that there was that leak that he was unhappy. And probably he was a little unhappy because he saw his minutes going down.
I don't believe that leak at all.
I don't know. I mean, there's all these leaks. Who the hell knows?
That leak seemed like Knicks PR damage control because he was one of the more popular Knicks, and they just want to be like, oh, look, he's an asshole. So aren't you glad he's gone now? Like,
you didn't know DiVincenzo's a Nazi? We're just leaking this.
Just a cheap Photoshop that they had an intern do.
Here's this totally undocumented video of him, this totally undoctored picture of him at a KKK rally hitting threes. I do think like Emmanuel quickly wanted starters minutes. DiVincenzo wanted starters minutes. You can only keep a guy in a bench role for so long before they get really frustrated not getting starters minutes.
I'm just going to say he didn't look too happy during his press conference in Minnesota.
So if people that watch the Randall DiVincenzo press conference and they both look kind of unhappy, the context they leave out is right before the press conference starts, both of them were told that both their grandparents all died.
I mean, they couldn't have looked.
And in the accident, their dogs died also.
And that they have to play for the Timberwolves.
And they have to play for the Timberwolves. Wait, we have to play and live here? They could not have looked more unhappy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The amount of unhappiness. It's like when you talk about the Knicks, like the vibes are immaculate.
Yeah.
It's there. The vibes have pooped themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and in fairness, they went to a team that has a very good chance of going to the finals this year. Minnesota.
Yeah, no, it's true.
They were in the conference finals last year. They were a very good team. Swapping out Towns for Randall and Dante, they still should be a very good team.
Yeah.
And they're like, holy shit, I can't believe. Dante's like, I made one complaint, and I'm out of here.
Right.
Okay, so what is better though? A team with Valanciunas and you get Randall and Dante, or Towns, I guess. I mean, so Valanciunas is not the most amazing defensive center either. He eats up rebounds,
yeah,
but he's not exactly, and he's fine. I would have totally taken Valanciunas if but now that Towns is a Knick, and I went from being very anti-Towns. Now that he's a Knick, I'm all in on him because I'm all in on every Knick. I'm all in on every Knick. I mean, maybe back in the day I wasn't all in on all the Knicks. Now I'm all in on all the Knicks. It was hard to be all in when you're like, oh, Frank's amazing. If he only played more, he'd rack up triple doubles. But I'm all in on this team.
Well, the Knicks also didn't have a very likable team for a long time. I mean, yeah, the one guy who showed up hungover and the one guy who shot himself and like just
Joakim Noah. We got the version of Joakim Noah that like just gets fucking parties every night and gets like wasted. We got the version of Bar Johnny who's really just the best of the word. I'm supposed to root for Bargs. Okay, so this team I'm all in. So I know I've not talked amazingly about Cat beforehand. I'm all in on him now. But really, would you rather, first of all, Cat versus Valanciunas, who would you rather play center?
You know, we talked about how we wanted Cat for years until he got that crazy high contract. Like we were upset. We were upset on draft night when like.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes. Okay, so earlier on, I wanted Cat. Yes, on draft night, I wanted Cat. Then, like, I think I lost interest in him when Jimmy Butler said he was soft as Charmin.
Yeah.
And he got Tibbs fired, basically. I think that's around the time I lost interest in him.
Corb asked if Mark is all in on Jericho Sims, too, because you did kind of shit on him like 5 minutes ago.
I'm all on Knicks, though. Sims is fine. I would totally support him in the dunk contest.
Mark
yes,
is all
you
in
called out
on
my
Sims starting now.
You called out my hypocrisy really well. Thank you. Okay, I'm all on the Knicks that are going to play major minutes that are going to matter. Sorry, Sims. I listen. I think Huck Porty is probably going to be better than Sims. I think the Knicks probably going to realize that soon. Also,
16 minutes in a
next season.
preseason game, and Mark's like, "Yep, taking over the spot."
Okay, so Valanciunas. What do you think? Would the Knicks be? You have Valanciunas here, or you have Towns. Which team is going to win more games? Or definitely win more games. Which team is a better team and have a better chance in the finals? Or not the finals. I mean, a better chance to get to the finals.
I mean, probably the team now, because knowing what we know about Mitch, Valanciunas is starting.
Yeah, you have to include the fact that we know that Mitch is going to be out till January and probably be hobbled the rest of the season. So, like, we're not going to get as much from Mitch as you'd like. So,
And
that,
at this stage in his career, do you want to put that much on Valanciunas?
what is he, 35?
He's that old already?
I'm just guessing.
He is 32.
32. Okay. I just age people. I have 3 more years when I want to make my argument against him being on the team.
He was it was weird in his 20s. He was like in his early 20s he missed a bunch of games, and then like the last couple seasons he's been playing almost every game.
Yeah, okay. People get healthy.
I mean, his last 3 years, 74, 79, 82.
Grant Hill got healthy at the end of his career.
Yeah, I don't know what they do in
Happens.
Phoenix, but they got some crazy mojo going on there.
Anyway, Towns is just a better offensive player than Valanciunas. And defense, they might be a wash.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, do you think the team is better with or without? I mean, which version of the team is better?
I think that this version has a higher ceiling and a lower floor.
Okay, I definitely think higher ceiling. Why lower floor? Outside of injuries, why lower floor?
Well, no, that's it. The injuries. I mean, Towns misses a lot of games. OG misses a lot of games. Like there's a lot of stock in guys who miss a lot of games.
You know who doesn't miss a lot of games? Mikal Bridges. He's never missed a game.
Bridges
Or
has
hasn't
never
in
missed a
while.
game. I mean,
Yeah.
Hart, Brunson, those guys are healthy. But yeah, I mean, Mitch, Towns, and it's like a mixed bag. Mitch Town and OG miss a lot of games.
You got to be healthy when it comes to playoff time. The good thing is also we should be able to play guys moderate, normal minutes. Like most guys, no one should average over 35 minutes on this team. The team is, I guess the team is not deep, but there's enough good players. It should, when you mix and match the bench, like it should be fine keeping guys under 35 minutes a game.
We did not say Jonas and Cat are equal. Somebody in the chat is saying that. No, we were saying
I said
the team construction. When you're talking about,
no, I said Jonas and Cat on defense are a push.
oh, on defense, okay,
Yeah. On offense, Cat is another level. I mean, not even another level. He's a whole nother level than like it's not even close. I just meant what was the team construction, keeping Randall, keeping Dante, and having Jonas versus having Cat and not having the other guys, which is the better version of the team. I was just saying, if you're comparing just that position, Jonas is like on defense. I mean, Valanciunas is fine and Cat is fine on defense.
yeah.
They're both a little bit. They're both. Neither one's an amazing defender.
Corb says, would you rather have Towns or iHeart?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have iHeart.
I mean,
I'd rather ran with iHeart. I mean, that's true. I mean, you disagree with that?
I wanted the Knicks to just run back the roster from last season.
Well, at the same, even though you wanted that, you were kind of fine with the upgrade of Mikal Bridges. Like that was something you weren't like disagreeing with that.
Oh, well, I mean, yes. The running back everybody plus getting Bridges, because you basically got Bridges for free. So
Not free, but you got him for a lot of draft. You didn't get him for. You don't have to trade players.
right. So it would have been like last year's team that almost made the conference finals, plus
Mikal
an
Bridges.
all-star caliber player. Like, yeah, that would have been insane.
I mean, I think I think you would have just signed iHeart and be very happy. The Towns move only came about really because iHeart was gone. So
Yeah.
I think they were trying to make the trade They were trying to make the trade anyway. But
It was
their
more
hands were
urgent. It was more urgent once
Yeah,
Cyhart left.
because they're like, we're going to the season. Remember, by the way, remember last year we went to the season without a 3?
Yeah.
There was no real 3 on the roster. Now we have Bridges and OG. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But either way, like yeah, I would have liked iHeart better. But Towns is obviously a vastly superior offensive player. I liked everything iHeart gave. So whatever. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, no, like I said, the ceiling's higher this year. The Knicks are legit championship contenders, despite what ESPN says. Vegas knows what's up. The Knicks have the 3rd best odds of winning the championship.
You also are running now the Celtics. Like the Celtics won the title, and you're running a similar, not the same players, but you're running a similar starting 5 in the sense of like you're running. Basically, they have Porzingis. Now we have Towns. You have a center that can shoot from 3. It makes a huge difference. And a center that can really be an offensive threat. It makes it just a world of difference, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we have 2 wings that are awesome defensive players. They're not the offensive players that Jaylen Brown and Tatum are. But we also have Brunson. They don't have Brunson, and obviously, like it's a pretty interesting move to make.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
the bench also, we may make moves at the deadline. There may be more moves to come. Hey, do you want to do a couple questions?
yeah, I mean, the Pelicans are starting Herb Jones at center. They seem kind of primed for a trade for Mitch.
Well, if he's going to play, they're starting Herb Jones at center. I thought he was a 3.
They don't have anybody. They don't have a center. So I would look at that come trade deadline.
I mean, how tall is Herb Jones?
He's tall, but he's like thin and like
I really thought he was playing the 3 for them, not the 4.
he's like not going to match up good against
He's
a
a
lot of
small forward. It
centers
says
in
he's
the
a
league.
small forward, at least online. I thought he was a small forward. He is 6'8".
6'8", yeah.
I mean, you can go with the Draymond Green type thing, but like,
Yeah, but he's not like Draymond Green's like very strong. Herb Jones is kind of
I mean, Green's also like a very special. Like he's a Hall of Fame player. Like you have to take a very very special guy to have a 6'8" guy at your center.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's a really good defender. I mean, he was 5th in Defensive Player of the Year last year, voting.
Playing his own position though.
Yeah, playing small forward. I don't think it's going to work out at center. I think the Pelicans are going to need
A center.
a center. Yes.
Do you think they'll give us Herb Jones for Mitch?
I don't think Herb Jones, but I do think that they have some interesting pieces. Like
It's forgetting don't even like not even going to like a hypothetical trade there. There's also guys that are just veterans who are bought out at the deadline. You're gonna find guys to add to the bench later in the season. And we have to see how. So right now, Deuce is solid. We don't know if Kolek's gonna play, but he does look solid. Campaign and Shamet, we'll see. You probably could use another bench player.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, Elb3 on Twitter writes, we know Cat will be our starting center. We know Mitch is insanely injury prone and basically made of glass. Would you develop Ariel Hakporti to possibly be better than Mitch? Or I guess maybe could you develop him?
Yeah, absolutely. I would. I'm not like I said. It's one preseason game, but he showed flashes, and I would definitely like to see more. And I think there's potential there. Also, I would look at maybe a Trey Murphy if they do a trade with the Pelicans.
Yeah. They mentioned also on the broadcast that Hakporti had he was more highly regarded, and he had a major injury. I think he tore his Achilles, and that set him back. But he was like a more highly regarded player, and he really fell in the draft because of that injury, and his stock just fell because of the injury.
Okay.
Like the injury, obviously he's recovered from the injury, but like I think his star was soaring a lot higher before. Like he was more of a prospect.
So the Knicks could have gotten 2 steals in the draft.
Could have been. But anyway, it's going to take for him to be anywhere near level of Mitch, it's gonna take time. Like you
Of
really,
course.
that doesn't happen overnight.
Of course. Although,
Um,
like I said, if he can play at an NBA level, like you only need 15 minutes.
yes, yes. So if you want to start Jay, just 15 minutes, give him 14
I
minutes.
said
Give
at
him
an
some start.
NBA level, like if he could do
Okay.
what he did last night, like you only need it for 15 minutes.
Anyway, by the way, I would have liked my number one would have been bringing back iHeart. I get why that just didn't work out because of it really is the dumbest NBA rule that you can develop a guy and then another team can outbid you for him. Not even outbid you for him, that you're not allowed to bid as much as the rest of the league can.
It's like the NBA has bird rules except for certain times and players.
They have bird rules and they have anti-bird rules.
Yeah.
Literally, you're not allowed to root as much for the. This guy got a lower contract, and you developed him and made him look awesome, and now you're basically not allowed to resign him.
We're saying how the Knicks like swap out like 9 players each season. A lot of that is because of these stupid rules. Like the NBA doesn't, the rules do not make for. I maybe they don't want dynasties, but I think it was nice back in the day when you went into a season, you're like, okay, we know we're playing, Miller and Smiths and Mark Jackson on the Pacers, and we know we have Jordan and Pippen on the Bulls. Like, it was nice knowing who you're playing. Now it's just like, I feel like you're almost rooting for a jersey rather than the team.
Okay, you are rooting for a jersey. I didn't root for Towns. Now I root for Towns. He wears a jersey. I am rooting for a jersey. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but there's no consistency. Like, you knew you had Ewing, Oakley, Starks, Mason. Like, you knew that every season.
That segment was brought to you by Old Man Jay. Back in my day, the NBA was better.
You like
They
this
shot
turnover?
These threes, and they didn't do it. It's just a different league.
You like playing who's on my team this year?
You know what
every
I like
year?
playing? I like having Brunson on my team. He'll be on the team for a bunch of years.
We don't know that.
They have him locked to a contract for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They have Josh Hart signed for a couple more years. They have OG signed for a bunch of years. They have Mikal Bridges going to sign for a couple more years. Better. I don't know. There's turnover. It's a different league. You're right. It's a little annoying, but we also have shorter contract. The 4-year contracts really are like part of the problem.
They are. I guess it's pick your poison because back then you could give 7-year contracts and then the guy gets injured in year 1 and then your franchise is toast for a decade.
Look, we still have Eddie Curry.
I
Great
know.
continuity.
It's like, yeah.
The other side of it also, the flip side also is that like once like LeBron left and then like Katie, Durant, demanded a trade. Once guys started really moving around and it kind of gave everyone else permission to move around. And then like, hey, we don't have to honor contracts anymore. Like I am Dame. I just signed a new contract and I immediately demand a trade a year later.
Mm-hmm.
Like absurd things are going on. So there's no continuity. Yeah, you're always rooting for a jersey. It was nice to have the same guys every year. We had some of the same guys. I don't know. You're right. It's a little annoying, but you have to also. I don't want knocks on my team for a bunch of years for the sake of continuity. I want the team to get better. I want to win a goddamn title, and I want my jersey to win. I want my team's jersey to win a title. So whatever you have to give me to play on this team, I didn't root for Towns. Towns wasn't my favorite player. Now I freaking love Towns because he wears my jersey, and that's all that matters.
Can't wait till we're doing an episode in December and you're going off on Towns.
December, as if it's gonna take that long. No, but I'm all in on Towns. I like enough of his game. The first 2 preseason games have looked good. I spent a lot of time meditating on how awesome Towns will be. I had 24 hours of not so happiness, but now I'm all in on this.
Okay.
Are you not in on Towns? Do you not like the jersey?
I mean, I'm in on Towns, yes.
Okay. I'm not in on the city edition jerseys, but I'm just in the general jersey.
Mm-hmm. I don't like the green ones either.
Okay. All right. Nick's Yo-Yo, sorry, says, all right, I'm going to give you one-word topics and be broad so you have a lot to talk about. McPorty, covered.
Mm-hmm.
Kolek looks like he is going to be a guy that we would love to have Brunson tutor.
I think he's going to be part of the rotation by 2025.
I think the jump is a bigger deal than we realize. He he was awesome in college. He looked great so far. The big jump to the NBA. These preseason games are not. Don't let him like just dominate G League for a little bit.
Keep in mind, he only has the outplay campaign.
Yeah, that's true. That really is not a
So I predict January or February.
right. Was that the old joke of someone's chasing you and like an animal's chasing and he's like, wait, you think we can outrun this cheetah? No, I just have to outrun you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Brunson cat pick and roll covered. Wingstop. Do you want to cover Wingstop?
I mean, that's a better name than I like that name for.
Is that a nickname going around? I know there's an actual place called Wingstop, but is that what we're calling the two wings?
I think we should. I like it.
That's a great nickname.
Yeah.
I freaking love. By the way, Mikhail, the offense is gonna take a little while before everyone finds their place. Bridges looked pretty good last night. I think there's gonna be a lot of movement in this offense. As what is it? McDonald's is that their ad campaign is I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what our the theme song basically, or the tagline for the Knicks is gonna be I'm loving it. Knicks offense, I'm loving it. Knicks defense, I'm loving it.
It's so refreshing going into a season with the hopes of winning a championship. This is our 15th year covering the NBA, and this is the first year we felt like this.
Well, last year we were like the team's gonna be good. We're coming off playing Miami. The team's gonna be really good, but the team
we weren't thinking championship though.
We were hoping to get to the third round.
Yeah.
And also the team that it was they were good. By close to the end of December, they were barely above 500, and we were like,
here we go again.
Here we go again. They're gonna turn it on. They're gonna turn it on. And the frustration with RJ and blah blah blah, and then what was it like December 28th when the trade happened?
Mm-hmm.
And our fortunes turned around.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the first time since we did the show that we were actually going in and saying, hey, they could win it this year.
Although the year after Atlanta, we lost to Atlanta, I said they're going to be really good still, and that wasn't good.
Knicks 100 says we got another year of growing to do. Well, I hope not, because this is our last year, so they got to win it this year. They don't have time to grow. The pressure's on.
We have to win it this year because we're retiring. We're done.
Right.
Though afterwards the show's done, and the following year the Knicks win 82 games in the regular season. We're gonna be like Jay, you want to? You're like, we're retired, Mark.
Maybe.
Fuck you.
If that happens, then I guess we were the Knicks curse.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance. What are we running long, Jay? I haven't watched the time.
We're at an hour.
Okay, so why don't we wrap this up, Jay?
Okay. That was it for the questions?
Yeah, that was it for the questions. Any last topic? Anything we didn't cover in my topics? No, I feel like we covered most things. The Knicks look. We have 2 more preseason games. We're playing Minnesota next. Randall is not healthy yet, so we will not see Randall. We will see Dante DiVincenzo, which will be weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he was only on the Knicks for 1 season, but it felt like he was here for a long time.
He was like a true Knick, like just the way he played, his attitude, like I don't know, just loved him.
He was awesome, and he set the Knicks 3-point record, and then was like, I guess my work is done here. Send me to Minnesota.
That's the new curse, breaking the Knicks 3-point record.
It really is.
2 years in a row.
So they got the rest of the preseason is Minnesota, Charlotte, and Washington. We'll probably do a show before the Washington game. This team's going to be awesome. I think we're going to go. This is the first season. We're going to start the year off. Well, we have the Celtics opening night, which will be. Why do we have to always face the Celtics for opening night? Why can't we face Charlotte opening night?
I know.
Like, just make it a little easier, just so we can get like a freebie on opening night, instead of needing to play an epic game to win the first game of the season.
Well, it's a good gauge to see where they're at.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. The Celtics, that's gonna be a hell of an opening night. Opening night's not too far away.
It's not. And the 19th, Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing the fantasy draft episode. So I know some people are into that. I'll be trying to do a podcast live draft and drink all at the same time. It always goes really, really well. So,
Where will you draft Kolek?
well, we're gonna have to stay tuned to see.
What about Huck Porty? Will he go high in the draft?
I mean, it's all Knicks fans in the draft, so usually like 8 or 9 Knicks get drafted.
I predict Huck Porty will not be drafted, but I bet Kolek is drafted.
He might be. But we do auction style, so you can put him up for $1 and probably get him.
Yeah. But team's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited. I would imagine I listened to another podcast where they were saying if Kovacs starts getting into the rotation, you can have Brunson be the first guy off the floor. You can play Kolek with the starters. Then bring Brunson back in the second earlier on.
Or at least just not have to play him a ton of minutes.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's also we're talking like Kolek has played 2 preseason games. Brunson has been MVP level type player. Slightly different players.
Yeah. But I think the Knicks have enough depth where we're not going to see much above 36 minutes a game for starters.
I hope not for OG. OG should not touch above 35.
OG should be like 33, to be honest.
I mean, you really keep him fresh. He's gonna get injured either way, but let's not push him up to 40 minutes anymore.
Andrew said it's time to lift Mark's ban from the fantasy league.
It's funny because the person who banned Mark was me. So
You're right. Mark himself said,
I don't need to be unbanned. It's okay, Andrew.
Mark himself said, you know what? I just don't have the time to update my roster, and it's not. Mark won the championship and then left.
Okay, so I didn't say I don't have the time. I think I said I don't give a fuck about it.
Well, that too. I gave the Disney version.
Yeah, that's not it. It's just the constant fantasy football. It's just so much less work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean basketball is a lot.
Listen, I'm raising kids and having to watch 82 Knicks games a year plus playoffs. I have a lot going, and I have to watch the Mets baseball and the Mets playoffs.
And that's like 700 games a year.
Yeah, 162 games plus I got to watch all the Mets playoffs, and there's no podcast associated with that. I'm just a moron. I'm just crazy.
Then you got the Jets on top of that. You watch a lot of sports.
Oh, it's okay. The Jets don't make they give you all the reason not to watch them.
All right, so we're NY Knicks Podcast on Twitter, NY Knicks Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. So, so you can follow on all that stuff. We do have a comedy show called The Brink of Sanity. You can listen to that podcast.
Also, Jay, find Jay. Jay's been posting on Nude Africa. If you can find his post, you'll win a prize.
All right. And I'm starting a horror movie podcast very soon. So it's going to be 3 basket cases on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So you can follow there.
Did you not get the Nude Africa reference?
Oh, is that... so isn't there a political guy who was posting on it?
Yeah. The guy running for governor. Yeah.
Not a normal person running for any office in the whole country.
Nope.
All right. So thank you for listening. We will be back. We'll probably do one episode before the draft episode, right?
We're probably good next Thursday. When's the draft?
Next Saturday, a week from this Saturday.
We'll probably maybe next Thursday we'll do a show.
Okay. All right.
Same time, same back channel.
Yep. And the Brink of Sanity sometime peppered in there too. All right. Yes. So thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon.
This is the end.
Say goodbye. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, everybody.
Oh, I just realized I lied. We can't do next Thursday. Do you know why?
Oh, goddamn baseball.
Goddamn baseball. The Mets play Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So maybe they play Sunday, Monday, then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Tuesday show, Jay?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Goddamn baseball.
Yeah, baseball, it's awesome. It's great. The Lindor home run last night was fucking amazing.
I'm sure
it was
it
awesome.
was just incredible.
It was truly incredible. The whole time, the whole time, the Mets kept getting guys on base and not scoring. It was goddamn blue balls, like just dick tees, like you're like waiting and waiting, and then Lindor hit that grand slam. The whole place just erupted with one giant cum stain. It was awesome.
I just can't believe how long baseball is. I knew the game started at 5, and then you and Briar like talking up the chat at like 8 o'clock, and I look and it's still only like the 8th inning. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and maybe one a little longer. I mean, games actually they put a pitch clock in and actually it carved like a half hour off the games. The games were like a half hour longer before that.
I know. I saw it was getting longer every year. They had to do
It was
something.
getting ridiculous.
They were like pushing
gotta
4
say,
hours.
It's so much better with the pitch clock. I mean, just bam, bam, bam. Because it used to be like he's gonna throw the next pitch, and the pitcher would just take like a half hour in between pitches. You were like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah. No, I don't like that one. No, I don't like that one.
Or just like standing there like scratching himself. Like, dude, you can't take a minute and a half between pitches. This is absurd.
Kenneth says, not sold on the Knicks. Why, you ask? Coach T is insane with the players' minutes, very stingy with their time. If he does not change, the Knicks are pretenders as usual. I don't agree with that at all. At all.
Yeah. I think the minutes got better when OG got here prior to everyone getting injured.
Yeah.
OG's minutes were kind of high to begin with. I mean, he really tipped one a little crazy with his minutes.
Yeah, but if you looked, no Nick was in the, like, Brunson was the most on the team, and he was like 14th in the league, which is like kind of normal. I think back in the day, he played guys crazy minutes because the teams weren't that deep. Like,
Yeah.
when he has
I
a
mean,
well-rounded roster, he plays a normal rotation. He was playing like a 9-man rotation. That's normal.
Well, he's rather an 8-man rotation, but he is a little crazy with minutes. I mean, he has to fight himself on that to a certain extent. I mean, it's not.
I think
there's
that's
there's some truth to it.
I think he did it in Chicago and Minnesota. I don't think he's been crazy with the minutes since he got to New York. I really don't.
Luol Deng's corpse disagrees, but okay.
I said Chicago and Minnesota. I don't think he's done it in New York. If you look at the minutes, look at any box score, it's not crazy.
I get. Well, did you see OG's minutes the entire time he was here?
Yeah, but again, like, who is backing OG up?
Who's backing anyone up now? We have a little bit of a depth issue. That's why also I kind of wanted Deuce. Josh Hart seems like the backup. It'll be interesting to see how this rotation works. Like,
I don't know. I think you have McBride, Hart, and Precious. That's 8 guys right there. If one other guy steps up, you still got.
Well, you said McBride. So I said again.
Oh, you can't have McBride and Hart. One of those are starting. So
you have McBride,
Precious.
on the bench. Precious. So Precious gets the backup. Precious backs up the center minutes. McBride is one of your guard backups.
Mm-hmm. You have Campaign
or Kolick, or I guess Campaign,
Kolick, or Shamit.
Going to play some minutes. Your 3, I mean, like, basically your backups for OG and Mikal Bridges is Josh Hart, who's also starting with them.
Yeah, they could use another.
It's gonna be interesting to see how they do that. Like, they'll take. I mean, maybe you'll pull Bridges early, and then like he'll replace OG.
Honestly, if they could just get like a backup 3 or 4 with Mitch, like I think they're set. I think they got a 9-man rotation and everything's fine.
Right. Okay. So this is falling out of the trees.
You don't think there's a
The
team
season's
that
going to start in a half hour, and you're going to find a 3 who can play major actual rotational minutes?
you only need this for the playoffs.
Oh my god!
You don't need this.
You only need him to play 15 minutes. Like those.
No, I was gonna say you only need it for the playoffs. You don't need to worry about November and December as long as they make that move at the trade deadline and they could run the final stretch with their 9-man rotation. Then it's fine.
All right, fine.
I'm not concerned that they have a gap in October. I'm just
I'm
not.
surprised they didn't get Marcus Morris back. Or you're right. There's you'll find someone before the deadline.
Somebody's going to get bought out, or there's going to be a trade
bought
deadline move. A center's going to get injured, and the team's going to have like no center, and they're going to need Mitch. Like, it's going to happen. I'm not worried.
Even if it's not Mitch, someone will get bought out, or they'll trade a draft pick and get somehow they'll figure out how to get one more guy.
Yeah, yeah. Corp says, I just wanted to say I started listening to your pod in high school, and now I'm about to have a kid. Thanks for being a staple in my life through all the hard Knicks years. Thank you, Corp.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being. Thank you so much. Awesome. Well, congrats on the kid. Awesome times.
Yeah. Let's see. I think.
Speaking of kids, I'm gonna go rejoin Kid World.
Yeah. I think that's about it for tonight. Thank you for joining, everybody. Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you all soon. Let's go Knicks.
Okay. Well,